The topic this morning, rituals versus meditation, is a very unusual. Do it well for academicians because my PhD is on religion. Religion as a discipline is available everywhere, but religion never rose to the level of an academic discipline. That's very unfortunate. But anyway, I want to talk about these rituals versus meditation in a global context and also in the Indian context. Part of the religious and cultural tradition rather than meditation. Whereas in the West, for instance, wherein India is known for its yoga and meditation, and they don't know or pay attention to rituals at all. But it is the opposite for Indians. The temples are ritual centers. And there are clear advantages of practicing one or the other. And if you actually, they are not mutually exclusive. But superficially, there is some kind of competition or segregation between the two. But in fact, one cannot be done without the other if you understand the true meaning of the rituals and true meaning of meditation. The rituals, in my opinion, and research, are a lot more powerful on the one hand, and it has several rituals have several advantages, being more efficacious than meditation, more practical, and more emotional, so that people could relate to it. Whereas, on the other hand, the meditation, it's very hard for people to sit down and meditate. And if you go to Patanjali, he would ekathanata dhyanam, he would say. This is the definition of meditation. You have to just fix your mind on one thing and stay there, or chitta vritti nirodha, or just stop the mind. Are these things useful? They are useful, but they are not easy. They're very useful. Chitta vritti nirodha is easy to say, which means stopping the expansion of the mind through thoughts. But we cannot remain without thoughts. So whereas rituals are very easy to practice. But the elite somehow have come to, the elite people have come to some kind of show some kind of favoritism, I would say, they favor more meditation, and ritual is falls oftentimes on the superstition side. It's superstitious. For instance, there are a couple of rituals I want to discuss. I want to do a lot more, but I don't think I have the time to do that. But I will see what I can do within the time limit. But the two rituals that are at the top list of Hindu rituals, done either in the temples or in ashrams or at home. The first one is the fire ritual. which I call as the fire lab. I started calling it as a fire lab because it's a laboratory where you can study that. And then, my contribution to Hinduism is to present it and understand it as science, and sometimes super science, which will be the future of the science. The fire ritual is a technology, and the technology comes from the Vedic tradition, the ancient, very ancient tradition, going to 1500 BC and 15,000 BC, or even before, because it literally you cannot date the Vedas. Okay, but anyway, let's say it's very, very ancient practice, and it is a technology to get connected with the divine. And in some form or the other, you see global religions have this understanding, whether Moses talking to the burning bush or candles being lit up in Catholic and other churches around, and where the light part, which is Agni, which is fire, somehow in the minds of people of different religion is divine. Fire or light is divine. Why? Anthropologists will come up with their own theories, but I'm not worried about that. I'm concerned about it is a device or a technology to connect with the divine for your own material benefits. So the Vedas, did fire rituals. The Vedic priests were very clear. Okay. Even the very first Veda, Rig Veda, the Rig of the first Rig Veda, it says, Agnim mile purohidam yajnasya devam ridvijam hotaram ratnadatamam. Give me money. He's asking the fire to give me money. How can fire give the money? I will come to that in a moment. And then there is only the Vedic priest also asks the fire, you have to give me money every day. This is a great concept. Not we are used to getting money at the first of every month. In some companies pay every 2 weeks, but most companies, the government and other organizations pay at the first of every month. And this is a very wrong mindset, and that has gone deep into our consciousness. And if we change that mind, and if we want money every day, Agninatrayi Masnavat Osham Yeva Dividiviye Yashasham Veeravattamam. Hey Agni means fire, give me money every day. Oh my God. How is he going to give? Dividive, every day. Veeravattamam. I don't want money through selling drugs or anything. It should be coming through noble means. And you see down even the most important text within the Hindu tradition is the Bhagavad-Gita. I think in chapter 3, verse 12, Ishtan Bhogan Pivo Deva Dashyante Yajna Bhavitaha. It says, in the beginning, there are a few slokas you may want to see, 10, 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe even 13. So in the Bhagavad-Gita, it says there was a rule that was established between the humans and the divine beings. And what is the rule? You take care of me and I will take care of you. The human beings have to take care of the divine beings. And if you do, then they will come and then they will take care of you. And then what will they give? Ishtan Bhogan. Whatever you want, you want material things, car, home, vacation, clothes, shoes, whatever. Those gods will give you. They are very clear about this two words, Ishtan Bhogan. Bhoga means to experience of these luxury items. So it's part of the religion. It's a very practical religion. But the question that this ritual is like superstition has made is a wrong assumption, first of all. That's why I just start quoting all these classical texts so that they cannot blame me. But if I were to blame the Vedas, blame the Bhagavad-Gita. So it is certainly not a superstition. It is a technology. And now, I started working on this when I was in graduate school doing my PhD, that studied in depth the aksharas, syllables, and how they create matter and so forth, and how the Vedic rishis had tremendous understanding about that. And thanks to Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who was my first formal teacher, and I was a TM teacher myself, long time, the 70s. And he was the one who introduced the world to the mantras. But he did not allow the mantras to be subjected to scientific research, which I started doing after many, many years of my own understanding and need to validate it. Now let's go back to the fire rituals. So the fire rituals do give you the things, the material objects that you desire. And that's very practical. And that's what everybody wants. And it needed too. Nothing wrong about it. And what is the mechanism of action? Is the money going to fall off the roof when the gods are going to put money? They can. But you have to do a lot more meditation and get those gods, and commune with those gods and understand those gods. Then they get to know how to talk to them. All these things are possible. Now, for the 21st century, people are going to ask for evidence. So what I have done in Astrovaid, which is our Homa center in India, we have a room where we have set up EEG machines, electroencephalogram. Then we will do, the priest will do the puja, the homa. And if someone wants to see what's happening in the brain while the priest is doing the fire ritual for Shiva versus Vishnu, because Shiva gives more enlightenment and Vishnu gives more material wealth. And is there any evidence for that? There is. On the brain level, you can see how the brain works. In response to the prayer to Shiva with the Vedic mantras, in response to Vishnu. They are very different. They are available. And I will ask them to post it on Facebook and YouTube if they had not done it already. So This is something I want to do at, throughout my life. And we can even create a university around it. There is so much that has to be done to see that these are not superstitions. But first thing that we have to get, as far as India is concerned, people have stayed away from these rituals because they cannot relate to it. They will come and sit in front of the fire, and then their mind goes elsewhere, when it is going to be over. And we have to cut short also the timing, because it's a long ritual and people, do not know which part of which steps can be discarded and what is the most important one, what is the most important mantra that we need to keep and focus attention and inform the people. That is not there. And that's a problem. We try to do that through interactive homas with some educated priests. But what we need support from are people who are giving lectures, and they stay away even spiritual matters. They are like new age teachers in the United States, self-help kind of things, or psychology like Osho, or will interpret it more psychologically, although he was a great philosopher. So he would do a commentary on Shiva Sutra, the Book of the Secrets, or do a commentary on Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. He has done all that. But it is more psychological, popular psychology too. And the tradition has to go. And people have to get interested in religion, Hinduism as a science. And we can prove. The other ritual that I want to talk about is Abhishekam. Abhishekam is, pouring water, orange juice, and then turmeric water, cow's milk and ghee and yogurt. All this you bathe the deity with all this. This ritual bathing is not only for God, it is also in ancient times, occasionally it was done to the kings also. I will confine my talk only to doing these two statues of different gods. I call this Abhishekam as hydration ceremony. You are hydrating. Basically, that's what you are doing. First, we pour a lot of water, and every time you have to do water. The water is the most important, liquid that you put on. After that, so other liquids, fruit juices and ghee and honey, etc. Now, hydration is the most important thing. What is hydration? Hydration is giving life, giving protons. Life protons are given. The hydration ceremony gives life protons to the statues. The statues come alive at that point. So the statue worship is again a technology. You should not say this is superstition. Again, the teachers all over India, and then especially those who are talking to young people in colleges, they just think this is a gray area. I don't want to do that. This statue worship and going to temples are unnecessary. No, that's a very wrong idea. or wrong advice, or they stay away from that. No, why get into a controversy? But what has, in spite of all this, what has happened is people are doing more and more rituals, going to temple. The temple attendance has increased dramatically. Of course, the coronavirus has been a problem. So temples don't attract too many people. There are regulations too. But after the corona is over, it is now the vaccine is going to be available. Then we will see normalcy coming back. At that time, I think again people will go to the temples, and this is my prediction. With vengeance. And there, the most important thing that you do in hydrating the deity is giving the milk. The milk, cow is a divine animal. And that's why they don't kill cows and eat beef. That's, some do, but most don't. Very, very few eat beef. And why do they pour the cow's milk? The cow has in her body all the gods and goddesses. And the cow's milk is the blood of the cow. So you are giving the blood to the deity by pouring milk over and over again. You are one hydration with water, and here you are giving blood of the cow. And blood, but not actual blood, but it's the blood that becomes the milk. And that will has so many benefits out of it. I can give a talk about what does this cow's blood turning into milk, and then the blood of the animal sacrifice, and the sacrifice of Jesus Christ and his blood. But maybe this is not the platform for that, so I won't talk about that. So it's enough to say that then they put turmeric. Turmeric plays a very important role. Now, turmeric is used extensively as a healing herb all over the world. And it originally was started in Tamil Nadu. There are literatures saying that turmeric was cultivated long time back, and it was brought to the earth plane by one of the gods, Muruga. And if you look at turmeric research, like 40,000 research and articles published, and 4,000 patents awarded, because they all think that there is some secret. They are not able to figure it out, because it targets almost all diseases, all organs. They think they are not able to even pinpoint where it is not going to go. Even recently, when I was meditating, there was some intuition that came to me. It can decalcify the third eye. I have spoken somewhere about that too. So they give this turmeric Abhishekam too. Now, by the way, they are introducing. We are testing some products turmeric, when the turmeric is when we do the Abhishekam of turmeric to gods, and how these pick up the energy, so that this is a Siddha technology which I'm using it or I think part of the research has been over, and then it will maybe in a few weeks we will be able to give the results. And because turmeric is one herb that can do million things. Now I have spoken enough about uh, rituals, and what about meditation, which is harder to do. It is only one initial discipline that is required to sit down and do that. But once you do that, then you won't have any difficulty to get into a deeper state. For instance, you can change your mind very easily through the breath. The breath is a topic that is not very easy to understand, because when you breathe in, it's not only that you breathe in oxygen, which is very small amount, but you also breathe in the prana and the air, which is the life-giving force. And then I'm going to teach you a very small technique of meditation with the breath on one nostril, the left nostril. Put your attention on your left nostril, close your eyes, and just inhale without touching the nostril. Just inhale through the left nostril. And then put our attention briefly on the third eye, which is the pineal gland. And then move into the brain, top of the brain, and then get out. Do it another time. The third eye, and then out of the brain into the space. One more time. Now, forget about the inhalation. Just only put the attention on the left nostril, connecting to the third eye, and then just getting out of the brain into the space. Draw a line. Maybe for meditation's sake, a ray of light getting into the left nostril and going out. That it's just 1 minute. Within 1 minute, keep your eyes closed and attention on this ray of light going through the left nostril and going out. while you are listening to me. So it's not difficult. Keep your eyes closed. Just listen. It's not difficult at all. It's very easy. And you can remain like this when you are just bored with someone talking, and at least you want to do something useful to activate the brain. You can do this. Or watching the commercials on the television, then you can do this. You may want to do the entire period you are watching the television. You can be doing this meditation. And now I gave a title like Rituals versus Meditation. Actually, they have to be done together. Even when you go to do the rituals, you have to get to a quiet state of mind. And if you don't do it, then you are not going to get the benefit. You can now slowly open your eyes. So they are not mutually exclusive, and they are together. And only when they do them together, you will get the benefit. I can also show you what happens when you do this attention on the nostril and inhaling. There's a lot of research already available, but more can be done. I don't think they have done serious work on that. So it's a brain empowering exercise. The Buddha, who did not believe in a God, did not believe in a soul, believed in this breath awareness. And he said that he told his son, you don't have to do anything except to watch your breath for an hour. But if you lose attention, again, start from the beginning to watch the breath. So that's why it's hard. But I have made it simple. This is a very simple thing, but it took me maybe several decades to figure out what is really working, or teaching, people, more than 1 million people, several million people. So the rituals are very powerful. Fire ritual, Abhishekam, there is a science towards it, and then it is very important that you examine everything before you condemn it and then say it is superstition. A lot of people say that astrology is superstition, even some of the very popular teachers. But then if it is at least Vedic astrology, if it is superstition, why did the Supreme Court of India upheld it as an academic discipline? Why did the University Grants Commission approved it as an academic discipline? And people who can give, everybody is, free to give their opinion. But then the proof is very important. Supreme Court is not going to approve something that is superstitious and give it an academic status. The parliament approved it, but that could be politics, I understand. But not the University Grants Commission or the Supreme Court of India. So it's a very serious discipline, and it is going to pick up. And I don't want India to lose on that front too. India has lost so many things of her ancient sciences. But anyway, the world is one. And we are here to benefit from all of that. And comparative studies are very important. Studying the milk and its relationship with blood and changing karma. And they're all very important. But anyway, that's all what I wanted to say for this meeting. And I will keep talking about what we need to do to modernize Hinduism, its rituals, its meditations, not only by giving philosophical, rational validations, but core scientific validations of looking at what happens to the DNA, what happens to the gene. Years ago, there was a student of mine he's a medical doctor in Australia, brought a guy from Harvard who wrote the book called Proof of Heaven. He's a famous neurosurgeon, Alexander. What's his name? Eben Alexander. Proof of Heaven. He was in coma for 7 days and came back. And during that period, he went to heaven. And what he heard, he said, people chanting Om. And then he writes in his book, Om is God. I think the other person who said Om is God is Patanjali. I said, he was on the show with me, and I had asked him, how did you know that you're Christian? He said, no, I was born in a Christian family, but I'm not a regular churchgoer. But what I heard was this: I was in a coma state, my soul went, and my soul was experiencing heaven. And then during that time, Om, I heard Om, and then I had a deep realization that Om is God. So it is science. And then somebody sent me an article from Calcutta, University of Calcutta, where they have studied Om and how it affects your brain and how it affects even your neurochemicals. So that's the way to go, because then people will be motivated, because this wrong idea that this ritual worship of deities and doing fire rituals or superstitions, and then also putting down astrology as a superstition, are wrong ideas unless you prove it wrong. Even if you prove it wrong, it's not going to work, because people are going to do it, because people are attracted and by tradition, and tradition is not a very superficial thing. Tradition has very deep roots in their subconscious, unconscious mind. That's all for now. God bless.